The 676th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL season with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy ho, Degenerinos. Welcome to episode 676 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Going out to my new best friend, James H1I1R, who says on YouTube, Gumby gets all the credit, but Jeff is hilarious. So I agree. I am the hilarious Taco Fox here with another episode, a big one. PFL Super Fight Battle of the Giants episode. Boom. How you like that? So yes, some PFL action. Sadly, this is one of the ones where they want us to pay money to watch their product. It is a pay-per-view, but we're going to break it down for you. How you consume the product after the fact is up to you. I'm going to bring in my laughing co-host, the man who has all the winning picks for us in regional. I think he's still up double digits in non-UFC picks. It's one and only Daniel Gumby Vreeland. Hello.
Double digits. We're up 18 units.
Yes, that's double digit.
Non-UFC picks. We had a not so good record-wise number at Octagon. I think we went 6-5, but one of the hits was a plus 375 underdog. So all's well that ends well at the end of that one. And yeah, we're up about 18 units on the year for non-UFC picks, which is pretty darn good. Never. You always want to be in the black, but this far in the black feels pretty darn good. So yeah, hoping to add a few more here.
And we're going to, as I said, we're doing PFL. Thoughts on, we do have lines for this. Thoughts on these lines at all? Anything?
There are a couple that surprised me, I'll be honest. And then, there's a fight. We just get right into it. There's a fight that I thought, though, I had to look at the line 7 times to make sure I was seeing them right. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. We're just doing the main card before people ask. It's prelims are kind of right? They're not the greatest prelims.
There's some fighters. There's some fighters I like on the prelims. And there's actually, if you stay to the end of the episode with the lightning round, there are 2 picks that I like that I think are big values considering what they are, which are really great pieces to throw in parlays if you're trying to spruce up your odds.
Fantastic. There you go. I set them up perfectly for that, didn't I? While I'm speaking to you people, if you're not on Spotify already, if you pop over to Spotify, give us our show a 5-star rating. That would help us out greatly in our battle to prevent corporate gambling from taking over. Thank you in advance for that. Let's jump into PFL Super Fights Battle of the Giants. A mouthful of a title going down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Hooray. Back to Saudi Arabia. Oh, joy. This is this coming Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. So you're going to be split screening it for a bit because UFC starts at 4, I think. But UFC is a Apex card. So you may not even...
That's a damn good main event. Don't get in on
Pacheco. A middleweight main event?
Pacheco versus Fluffy?
I know. Yes.
Pacheco versus Fluffy is a sick fight.
It is true. All right, this is going down 1:30. Actually, 1:30 is the start time. Prelims, ESPN Plus, the pay-per-view portion on pay-per-view as you would expect. The Kingdom Arena in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. 10 fights. We're giving you full breakdowns on half of them, the top 5, and then we'll see. Gumby is already teased you with some nice plays on the prelims. So let's jump into it with a fight with a couple of hyped up young fighters here. McKee Jr., which really we've been through this before. His name's Antonio McKee Jr. So you can't be AJ and Jr. It's one or the other. Okay. And he's fighting Paul Hughes from Ireland. 300 rounds, 155 pounds. I will not tell Mr. McKee this to his face. You've seen the odds. Yes, you've seen the odds. We already talked about it. We'll tell you about Paul Hughes. Did you know his nickname was Big News Hughes? Did you know that?
I didn't know that. They definitely don't use that all that.
No. Big News Hughes is a 12-1, 6 knockouts, 3 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. This is his debut in the PFL. He's won 6 straight fights, 3 straight via TKO. He's not lost a fight since December 2020. Cage Warriors champion, regional champion, used to fight at featherweight plus 170. Mercenary McKee. 22-1, 6 knockouts, 8 submissions. Never been finished in a fight as well. These guys owe us a finish. 1-0 in PFL, 4 straight wins. He won his last fight via submission. He's not lost since April 2022. 21-1 in Bellator. Former champion there. Used to fight at featherweight. 8 years younger than Hughes. 4 inches of reach on Hughes. An inch of height. Minus 175.
Yeah, I got to go with McKee here. I originally was trying to get around to convincing myself that Paul Hughes could sort of score the upset here and I could find an underdog, but it just really isn't the case. Like, I think he's stellar on the feet. His 2 fights with Jordan Vucenic are fantastic. He even had a little bit of back control time on Jordan Vucenic, which I think is like, it is a feather in his cap. But Jordan Vucenic is not AJ McKee. AJ McKee is an incredible grappler. The dude has excellent takedowns. He's so dynamic on the floor. I mean, like, even when he's on the bottom, he hits weird submissions you've never seen before. That weird little full Nelson from full guard that he hit was like one of the wildest things I've seen. And so, like, he just continues to be a guy who's very innovative in lots of different positions. And at the end of the day, doesn't have to strike with Paul Hughes. Like, if he had to strike with Paul Hughes regularly, and look, Paul Hughes works to the body fantastically. His combinations are nice. He comes at you from weird angles. Like, there's lots to like about Paul Hughes. I just don't think he's going to keep his ass off the canvas long enough to beat somebody like AJ McKee. And I don't think he's been on the ground with anybody even remotely as good as AJ McKee in terms of the grappling. So for me, this is AJ McKee's game. As long as he gets this fight down early. And I think the fact that he's got the reach should keep him safer on the feet too. Like, I don't think he's got a striking advantage, but knowing that he's able to take this fight down and doesn't have to get super close to him, like Hughes has to be the one closing the distance. I think all that plays in McKee's favor. So give me AJ McKee here. I think he takes him down and probably gets the sub.
The Irish fans are going to come after Gumby with pitchforks.
Sorry.
But
I really do like Paul Hughes.
Yep. Yeah, they're really kind of throwing him in the deep end here. He had 1 fight in Bellator, kind of, you would say, a warm-up fight, and now they're kind of throwing him in the deep end here against AJ McKee. But hey, them's the breaks. You're the big time now, son. Let's go down a weight class. It's a featherweight fight. Husein Kadimagomaev. It's kind of a bunch of different names mashed together. Kadimagomaev. You say
Kadimagomaev.
Kadimagomaev. No, there's no
Kadimagomaev. Kadimagomaev.
That's great. Gumby's having fun. He's from Switzerland, as you can probably guess by his name, right? Versus Zafar Mohsen. He is from Germany. 3 5-minute rounds. We tell you about, I think Mohsen first. Yes, Mohsen, definitely first. 13-4, 8 knockouts, 4 submissions, but knocked out twice, submitted once. This is his debut in PFL. So in 3 straight fights and 4 of 5. All 3 of those past 3 wins have come to a finish. Is not lost since August 2022. He's fight at lightweight and welterweight plus 625. Yikes. Kadimagomaev. That's a bit better, I guess. If I do say so myself. 11-1 with 1 no contest, 6 knockouts, 4 submissions. He's been knocked out once. This is his PFL debut as well. He's also won 3 straight, and he's gone 4-0 with 1 no contest over his last 5. 2 straight wins via submission. He's not lost since March 2021. Used to fight at lightweight. 4 years younger than Mohsen. 3 inches taller. Minus 650. Yikes.
We have been 2 straight weeks of non-UFC fights where I took a flyer on an absolutely ridiculous underdog and cashed it. We had Jake Heffernan, for those of you who weren't along for the Jake Heffernan ride, who closed at plus 900 and picked up an easy decision win. We had Mallory Martin this past week close at plus 400, and she won 50-45 across the board against the champ on foreign soil. I'm taking Mohsen here too. Plus 625. This is going to be my next one on that list. If I hit 3 weeks in a row, they're going to have to name a road after me or something like that. But look, this is why I like Zafar Mohsen. Is Kadi here has lost multiple times to people who had good takedown defense. You know, you want to go back to his last loss in Brave FC, which granted it's been a while. Just fought a guy who had good takedown defense, sort of tired himself out shooting the takedowns, especially because he has like high energy striking too. Like he throws a lot of like high head kicks and stuff like that. You know, he throws it to the body, but he does throw a lot to the top too. I think he tires himself out doing that. And in that fight, he tired himself out so bad, he got mounted and pounded out in the fight. And like, since then, he's kind of only really fought Cupcakes who got him like back on the right track. So like, I still don't know that he's fixed that problem. And Mohsen has got a really good wrestling game. Like I went back and watched his last loss too, just to be fair about it, which was also in Brave CF, weirdly. And he fought Max Konga, who we talked about in our last Octagon episode. Really good wrestler, but it was Mohsen who had the success early in wrestling in that fight. Now he wound up getting cracked because he is a little bit reckless on the feet. Like he kind of throws wild and wants to brawl and has been clipped a few times as a result. But he hung right in there and didn't like get blown out of the water by Koga even after he got tagged. So for me, I think Mohsen can tire out Kadimagomaev. Man, you're saying it better than I am. That's a bad day.
Yay.
But I think he can tire him out. And as long as he avoids eating one of those high kicks, I think he's going to have the success in the clinch. I think he's going to have the success turning this into a brawl. And if he gets right in his face, it's not really easy to get that head kick up there when somebody is directly in your face. So give me Mohsen here, plus 625. Let's stack it on as our next big win.
Mispronounces the guy's name, picks against him. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. You'll never be able to go to Switzerland ever, Gumby. All right, underdog fantasy. This is a good segue. Gumby picks a massive underdog, and we're telling you about Underdog Pick'em. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all of sports: NFL, NASCAR, college football, MLB, MMA. That's us, WNBA, and more. They got it all. Gumby has told you yesterday Contender Series they got on there. So if you're listening to this in time, you can probably make some Contender Series plays for tonight. They got it all. Their lobby is jam-packed with profit boosts. You can now use specials of boost on all flex entries. Make sure you check out I guess tomorrow I will have to have one ready for you. My underdog ballot for this coming UFC. I'm full of myself because I hit last week, so I expect I'm going to hit every week. So, Gumby, you have a play for the fine people in this episode?
Yeah, we'll go Contender Series again. I like Luis Garuli's higher than on his significant strikes. It's listed at 42.5. He's fighting Nick Piccinini, who had a little bit of trouble getting his takedowns going in his last fight, and I think he's tough enough that he's going to stuff enough and wind up with at least 43 significant strikes on the feet.
All right. So take Gumby's advice, and most importantly, sign up with our code MMA SGPN. You do that, you can claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So underdogfantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN is what you're going to want to do. All right, we're moving on with the PFL back to Saudi Arabia. A couple of names you probably will know, and they're easier to say for sure than the last fight. This is for the Bellator middleweight championship, nothing but belts from here on out. Johnny Eblen, the champ, versus Fabian Edwards from England. So US versus England here. 5-minute rounds if they need it, 185. Tell you about the challenger first, the assassin, Fabian Edwards. 13-3, 4 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been knocked out once. This is his PFL debut. He's won 4 of his last 5, including his last fight. He went 9-3 in Bellator, challenged for the belt there as well. 2 years younger than Eblen, 6 inches reach on him, which is pretty substantial. Plus 455, another big one here. Pressure, perfect nickname for Johnny Eblen. 15-0, 3 knockouts, 4 submissions, 1-0 in PFL. He's 10-0 in Bellator and the current champion of that promotion, if that promotion exists. Oh, I guess they're defending the title here, so I guess technically it exists. He's at minus 550.
Did you mention the most important part of this?
Oh, this is a rematch.
Only 2 fights ago.
Oh, okay, yeah, I thought they fought before. Eblen won.
Johnny Eblen won the first one, and Fabian Edwards went and beat Aaron Jeffrey, and only Aaron Jeffrey. And then
he's Canadian, has good hair.
Yeah, but he hasn't. I don't know that he's a title eliminator kind of guy. Although I think he did beat Douglas Lima, so maybe I should give him more credit. Bottom line is I'm going Johnny Eblen here. I respect that Fabian Edwards is good, and like I do like that he pretty much is trying to do the Leon Edwards thing, where he's like pretty damn good on his feet and he stuffs takedowns at a decent rate as long as he's not fighting Bilal Muhammad. But here's the thing: is like Johnny Eblen is I was mashing him up there for a second. Johnny Eblen is a high level wrestler. And if you go back and you watch their first fight, he doesn't even try to wrestle him. You know, Johnny Eblen just goes into that fight and he's like, I can box this guy. And not only does he box him, he finishes him. He hits him with a right hand, drops him, hits him with 100 elbows, puts him out cold. And you're like, that wasn't even how Johnny Eblen is his best. Like, that's not the best version of Johnny Eblen that we could see. And he still ran through Fabian Edwards like he wasn't even there. So, I mean, it would have to be a huge turn of events here for Edwards to pull this off. I like Eblen quite a bit in this fight.
All righty. Quite a bit. At minus 550. Let's move on. Co-main event for the PFL Featherweight Super Fights Championship. A mouthful. Cris Cyborg, Brazil. Larissa Pacheco from Brazil as well. It's actually Cris Justino on probably on your betting slips, but she goes by Cyborg as we know her. We're going to tell you about her first. 27-2 with 1 no contest, 21 knockouts, 1 submission. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. This is her debut in PFL. She's won 7 straight fights, TKO win in her last fight. That was back in October 2023, though. Has not lost since December 2018. She went 6-0 Bellator and the champion there. 6-1 in the UFC, champion there. 6-0 in Invicta, champion there. 4-0 with 1 no contest in Strikeforce, champion there. She's probably the most decorated women's mixed martial artist of all time. Failed a drug test. That's where the no contest came from. 2005 Pro MMA debut. 4-0 in boxing, champion there. 2-1 in Muay Thai. 2-1 in grappling, champion there. Her mantle is full. 2 inches height over Pacheco, plus 120. Despite all that, no respect. Pacheco's 23-4. 11 knockouts, 8 submissions. She's been knocked out once, submitted once. 12-2 in the PFL and the current champion of the past 2 seasons, 2022, 2023. She won those 2 seasons. She's gone 10-0 over her last 10. It's not lost since December 2019. 0-1 in the Ultimate Fighter, 0-2 in the UFC. She's only lost to really good people. Do you know who she's lost to? Her 4 losses and her tough loss.
Jermaine Durandamy.
Yep.
Kayla Harrison.
Yep.
Twice.
Yep. So that's 3 of the regular wins. Now we got a tough win and we got a tough loss and another regular loss.
Misha Tate.
Nope. Another champion.
Amanda Nunes.
Nope. Jessica Andrade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when she was up at 35. Yep.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And the Ultimate Fighter was Macy Chiasson. So she only lost to really good people, basically.
Yeah, that's a legit grouping. Yeah.
Yep. She has multiple regional championships on her
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingfocus.com/store. Maybe the Monday code still works. You never know. We had a sale yesterday. Code was Monday. Try it. You might get a deal still. 2012 Pro MMA debut. Used to fight at bantamweight and lightweight. 9 years younger than Cyborg. Minus 130. Cyborg, not a favorite here.
Yeah, and she should be, right? Like I know
I'm
you're
surprised by this.
I'm shocked. I kept thinking she would be like negative 200. It posted, and I was like, "Is this right?" And weirdly, it isn't even changing. I don't know if people are just fading.
It's gone the other way, actually. She was plus 105 when I did it yesterday, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if people are fading the fact that she seems like she's leaving MMA, but like Pacheco doesn't put people away, right? Like, and Cyborg wins every fight where you don't put her away. Like, literally has won every fight in her whole life, unless you caught her with a heel hook 20 years ago, or you're Amanda Nunes and knocked her out. Those are her only 2 losses. And the thing is, too, is like when you talk about this fight stylistically, I don't like this fight stylistically for Pacheco either. Like, sort of the thing about her at 145 pounds is she's been able to like bully anybody not named Kayla Harrison. And with Kayla Harrison, she was able to just scramble enough and stay on the feet and beat Harrison on the feet, because as much as Harrison's hands have come along, she's still a judo stylist, right? And like she still would rather not be boxing. And so Pacheco beat her in a lot of those boxing exchanges and won enough of the grappling to get the nod on the decision. I don't think I'd even pick her again in a fight with Kayla Harrison. And I can't imagine that style working against Cris Cyborg. Not a lot of people have ever taken Cris Cyborg down. I don't personally expect Pacheco to. And so, like, I don't know if you watched her fight with Kayla Harrison, but just like being slightly better than Kayla Harrison on the feet with your striking does not make me think that you're a better boxer than Cris Cyborg, who, by the way, has been away from MMA because she's been boxing. You know, like that's the thing. Like, yeah, I guess she's been away from MMA, but it's like this will probably be a boxing match. And she's been away boxing. And like the power is still there for Cyborg. Like the speed is still there for Cyborg. It's not like she's like had a huge drop off. Her only loss has been getting caught by maybe the greatest women's power puncher in all time, right? Like that's whether or not you think Amanda Nunes is the women's GOAT or not, like that sort of doesn't matter. She's probably the best power puncher of all time in women's divisions. And so like Cyborg got caught with that, but outside of that, nobody's outworking her. Nobody's outpointing her. Nobody's out grappling her. So like to see her at a plus money here, I think it's crazy. I'm all over Cris Cyborg at this number. I think Pacheco is in for a very rude awakening here.
All right, there you go. Steam that number up, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's go to the main event of the evening. PFL Heavyweight Super Fights Championship. Francis Ngannou. Perhaps you have heard of him. Used to do some MMA. He's from Cameroon. And then he's fighting Renan Ferreira, as you can probably guess by my perfect pronunciation. He is from Brazil. 5-minute rounds if the big boys need it. 265. Ferreira, problema. 13-3 with 3 no contests. It's hard to get 3 no contests in a career, and he's figured it out how to do it. 11 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 7-1 with 3 no contests in the PFL and the current champion. He's won 4 straight fights, all via TKO. He's not lost since August 2022. 2013 Pro MMA debut. 3 years younger than Ngannou. 4 inches taller, 2 inches of reach, plus 260. The Predator, Ngannou. 17-3, 11 knockouts, 5 submissions. Never been finished in a fight. This is his debut in the PFL. He's won 6 straight fights in MMA. He's not fought since January 2022, though. He's not lost since July 2018 in that very memorable fight. It was memorable versus Derek Lewis. You can't deny it wasn't memorable. He's gone 12. He went 12-2 in the UFC and left as the champion. 0-2 in pro boxing, but looked better than you would expect. Minus 275. So fairly close line for the main event.
I watched that Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou fight from a wedding.
Why would you? Oh, okay. I thought you meant recently.
No,
why would you do that? Okay.
No. I watched it live during a wedding, and I kept getting frustrated, and I don't think anybody could figure out what I was frustrated about.
I wish it was my wedding.
No, it's my cousin getting married, so definitely not that. But yeah, no, for this one, I'm shocked at how close this line has stayed. I think, again, we're probably getting value based on the fact that Francis has been away, but I'm taking Francis in this fight. Renan Ferreira went in there and dropped Ryan Bader, who is just a big old light heavyweight. Who didn't cut weight to fight at heavyweight. There's no reason for him to be in that kind of fight. And Ferreira knocked him out. That's great for him. I don't think that that's really indicative of how good Ferreira's boxing skills are. And don't get me wrong, they're good. He works well off of his feet, but I'll be honest, I don't think there's a really good chance he catches Francis. Francis has been in there. I mean, look at what Francis did with Tyson Fury. That fight was so close in terms of his boxing skills. And when you remember Tyson Fury is 8,000 times better of a boxer than anybody Francis Ngannou has ever come close to fighting, it seems like Francis is just head and shoulders in terms of boxing. And then when you add in the fact that he's got that big knockout power, Ferreira is a big old tall guy who, leans in with his chin up in the air because he's not used to people being able to reach it. He's been knocked out before in the past. I think this is setting up for a Francis Ngannou knockout. Wouldn't be surprised to see him mix a little wrestling in there too, because it was getting better towards the end, right? That's obviously how he beat Cyril Gane. And I could see him doing it here against Ferreira just to keep him guessing, especially if he doesn't knock him out early. But yeah, Francis is my pick here.
All right. And to be clear, PFL boss says these belts are to be defended. They're not just you win it and then they do another season. You have to defend these belts. So.
Sure
you do. All right, let's recap. Ngannou, Cyborg, Eblen, Mohsen, so I don't have to say that hard name, and McKee are the picks. Don't go away yet, ladies and gentlemen. We got some bonus plays for you after I tell you about Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money line spreads, totals, and props. Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build a model for me. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop, and also has a myriad of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insights. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RTHMM. And we're brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business, BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. U.S. players are always welcome. Sign up and deposit $100, and you have a chance to win a 1964 Mustang. Check out the MMA, UFC lines there, and use our link to sign up and get 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN, aka SIGPIN, so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. Lightning round, zap, bang, boom, pow. Gumby, you got another 5 fights to choose from. You hinted that you have some juicy stuff for us here.
Yeah, it's just mostly lines that I think there's still value on. So the first one that I like here is Mustafa Abada Rashad Nada. I had to write down that name because it's so long and I was worried I was going to mess a part of it up. But Nada showed exceptional power in his last fight on the PFL. And he's only listed at -180 here. I think he's got kind of a favorable matchup. So I'm in on that one. I am in on Ralphion Stotts, but that line has kind of gotten out of control. That one's up in the -500 kind of range. So I don't know if that's one necessarily that you want to get down on, but Stotts should win that fight because he is a little bit better than Breno, who he's fighting. And then the last one I like is sort of a fade line, but I'm seeing it in the -200s, high -200s, and that's Makasharip Zainikov. He's fighting Diedrich Sanders, and this is kind of a fade of Sanders. He's a guy who I think has looked sort of good from time to time in his regional career, but then we just saw him really get worked over by Violent Bob Ross, Luis Pena. And Luis Pena, I think he just retired, but he looked god-awful at the end of his career there, including a loss to like a sub 500 dude on the regional scene for Cage Titans. So to see Zainikov get this guy right here and see him less than $3, I think that's a steal. So my three big plays here on the Lightning Round: Nada, Stotts, if you can find a price that is reasonable enough. And then I like Zainikov. I think the line is worth it.
All right, there you go. You're all set. If you want picks for the other, 2 fights, hit Gumby up in the Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, or of course the comments on the YouTube. That's it. You're all set for a big weekend of non-UFC fights. Tomorrow we will get you set for the UFC proper. UFC Vegas 99. Only 10 fights on the card, I think, at this point. Not that I'm complaining.
I thought
12. Okay, I thought I saw fights had fallen off, but I might be getting confused. But
maybe you might just not have the fill-ins.
Okay. Well, we'll break it down tomorrow. In the meantime, Discord, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. YouTube, told you about that already. Make sure you subscribe. Of course, you can catch us on the Twitter, aka X. We are at SGPN MMA. Gumby runs that for us. He is Gumby Vreeland there. I am Jeff Fox there. And on Instagram, I have a Substack. You can enter my pick'em contest there at moneymma.substack.com. Gumby has a non-Jeff Fox MMA podcast, shockingly enough. Tell the people who is on the Top Turtle MMA podcast this week.
Brady Heastand, who's fighting this weekend at the aforementioned UFC Vegas 99. And then Bekhud Uzmanov, who is going to be main eventing the next LFA card we'll be breaking down.
All right. Check all that out at Top Turtle. And of course, we're at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get bonus content. Gummy, take people out of here for a few hours till we're back.
All right. I'm Dana Gumby Freeland. He's the Predator Jeff Fox, and we will see you tomorrow.